For a long time, I've been seeing disturbing, violent acts in relationships. And just recently, a young lady came across my timeline. She was a owner or a co-owner of a club down south in Atlanta. I wanted to say the name of it was Opium. Check this out.
Friends and coworkers say Canty was a staple in the city's entertainment scene, right?
And if there's one thing that was clear tonight, it's that she was extremely loved by those who viewed her as someone who was close to them, family and friends. They say she helped build Atlanta's nightclub life over the last several years. Tonight, they are in mourning while Gwinnett County Police investigate her death.
Play her music, play her R&B, play her Jeezy.
Friends say Sherelle Canty brought every party to life.
Sherelle has her own aura, and when she walks into a club, everybody knows Sherelle's here. And they know to bring out her Zool, bring out her Don Repos, and we're going to have a ball.
Known to many as the co-owner of Atlanta's Opium nightclub, they say she was a staple in the city's nightlife community.
She knew how to run a business. She knew what to do to keep the business going. She had great partners. She had great staff.
But now police say Canty's life was cut short. Gwinnett County Police say officers were called to a home on Wilkerson Way in Grayson Sunday morning after a neighbor reported a person dead. Investigators later identified the victim as 44-year-old Canty.
It just wasn't believable. Hard.
Detectives say 48-year-old Stephanie Byram pulled the trigger, charging her with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. In arrest warrants, investigators say Byram shot Canty twice in the head.
We're all just mourning right now. We're all missing our sister, missing our friend, missing Sherelle.
Tajay Henry says she worked alongside Canty at Opium for years.
For Opium to be here, that means Sherelle ran it right. She just had people in the place that helped her align the business and take it to the top.
As friends try to process her death, they say her legacy within Atlanta's nightlife scene won't be forgotten.
Sherelle going to tell us to party and ball like she's still here. We're going to keep her legacy alive. We're going to keep Opium alive.
Keeping Opium alive was the main takeaway from her and, of course, her family and friends as well. Now, Gwinnett County Police do say that this was an isolated incident. There is no threat to the public tonight. The woman that they say is responsible is still being held in the Gwinnett County jail tonight.
What's really behind domestic violence? Is it about bad people? Sometimes it is. I think it's something darker than that. Psychologically damaged people colliding within. And a emotionally isolated environment with no real tools to help survive each other. And people don't like this conversation because it removes the fantasy that love automatically makes people feel safe. It doesn't. Love does not heal emotional instability. Attraction does not heal trauma. Sex does not heal abandonment. And relationships do not magically turn wounded people into emotionally disciplined human beings. I think relationships sometimes expose the damage from people that was hidden for a long time. Because to see that is very disturbing. Ex-wife, if it was a wife, you know, they say anything on these news channels. But we try to hold them accountable for their reputation and they give them reputable proof and documentation and evidence. This is why some people look peaceful single but become emotionally volatile once a certain level of intimacy begins. Because closeness activates things that casual interactions could never touch. We cool, I don't know you like that. You get close to somebody, you live there, it get a little deeper. That fear of disrespect, that fear of abandonment, that fear of replacement, that fear of losing control, not being enough. Domestic violence often grows in environments where identity itself is very, very unstable. A lot of people don't know who they are outside of this relationship. So when the relationships get shaky, their entire identity shaken with the relationship. Now, a disagreement could feel like a war, an annihilation, an attack. That's why a lot of people you see low key, they become obsessive during the breakup. Not because of the love aspect, but because the psychological structure. Modern life has quietly created a lot of people that's emotionally overwhelmed. Financial pressure, social pressure, sexual pressure, performance pressure, status pressure, money pressure, image pressure. And then everybody started to feel replaceable. They start to feel like they being watched, and they not only being watched, but they also being judged. And many people's internal homes have become emotional pressure cookers. They feeling it in the inside. And at any given time, boom. Especially in a world where people barely sleep. I just did a reaction or video about why we sleeping so much less now. We barely disconnect from social media. We barely give ourselves time to heal. And we constantly consume negativity online. Even that. We try to use these as points to try to become more spiritually aware as opposed to being spiritually exhausted. But these things are combined with alcohol, jealousy, betrayal, insecurity, unemployment, broke, and humiliation. People gonna snap. These things are very detrimental. The nervous system of certain people, when you see these things, to me, they have been collapsing before the argument even started. Before this even happened, they've been collapsing. Most domestic violence explosions happen prior to that explosion. It's happened. And few people talk about this emotional state that they are in. So it's a level of a slow destruction before it becomes violent. Resentment, silent disrespect, emotional neglect, power struggles, constant criticism, mocking, emasculation, manipulation, feeling like you're in something you can't get out of, you feel trapped. And a lot of households become emotional war zones long before they become physical. And it looked like this what we looking at. And sometimes the violence become the final language of people that's emotionally bankrupt. Still wrong, still dangerous, still unacceptable. But it goes much deeper than people willing to admit or actually take accountability for it. Some people confuse emotional possession with love because they were never taught to attach the right way. They weren't taught that, to attach the right way. So they panic. When the connection changed, people panic. You text a person late, it become betrayal. Any boundary a person lay, it become rejection. Any disagreement, it become a certain level of feeling like I've been abandoned. And emotionally fragile people often interpret normal relationship tension as an emotional danger. They don't know the difference. They can't calibrate the difference, especially if in their childhood they was taught that love could disappear at any given moment. This is why abandonment wounds are quietly connected to many, many destructive relationships. Some people would rather destroy the relationship than feel abandoned by it or destroy the person within that relationship. That's deep, deep, deep. Humiliation is one of the most psychologically dangerous emotions on earth. Public disrespect. Cheating. Feeling like you unwanted. Feeling like you powerless. Make a person do some things that they shouldn't do. Emotionally immature people often convert humiliation into rage because rage feels much more powerful than sadness. So instead of them going to woosah and deal with the sadness of that pain, they go into a rage. Because now they feeling like it's powerful. And now you have human beings carrying oceans, waves of emotional pain with nowhere healthy to place it. And eventually, some people become dangerous containers, holding it within. And there's also a spiritual emptiness behind a lot of this violence. Not religion, spiritual emptiness. Two different things. You disconnected from purpose, you disconnected from meaning, and now you disconnect from yourself. And what do that look like? If somebody hate their own life, they gonna be destructive towards anyone else that's connected to them emotionally. But they hate their own life. And that type of pain, it spreads. That's why some abusive people destroy the very person that's trying to love on them. This shit deep from where I sit and the things I've seen. And some people would rather attack the mirror than confront themselves. Diabolical. And people are addicted and attracted to emotional intensity. Calm relationships feeling dead to them. Not vibrant enough. I've seen interviews where people like, I need to be put in check. I don't want no pushover. I want him to be aggressive. I done seen these people talk like this. Chaos make a person feel alive. I'm involved in some shit. Drama feel like it's a passionate level of passion that's there. And toxic shit feels familiar. Hence, who waking up acting something wrong already? Something been wrong. It was never addressed. That's why some people repeat entering violent relationships from both sides sometimes. Not always just one. It's from both sides. Somebody just more traumatized and disturbed than others willing to take it there. And feelings get involved and people play with people's feelings, manipulation and all type of other things. And not because they enjoy suffering, but because dysfunction became something that's emotionally recognizable to them. That's what happened. A lot of people don't know how broken they are until someone gets close enough to them to trigger that brokenness, that level of emotional brokenness, which is why having discipline over your emotions may become the most important part of your survival skills heading into the future, because the world is becoming more isolated and it's becoming more overstimulated. It's becoming much more financially stressful and much more psychologically fractured for people. So what we headed? Why so much domestic violence now? Why human beings are losing community, patience, regulation, and identity? Domestic violence is sometimes the symptom of something much bigger in the mental space that's collapsing in private, but in public you functioning. You cool. But in private And until people learn self-awareness, emotional regulation, purpose, and healing, many homes will continue to be battlegrounds disguised as relationships. And that's the bigger play. I want to give my condolences to the family of the young queen who apparently had him lit down at opium and other places. And from all the love I see her getting, I just feel like this is something that we need to talk about much more than what we are. In a way, where we're trying to give enlightenment to people that's dealing with certain things. It's cool to walk away, family. It's cool. It's all right. Time gonna help heal them wounds if you allow it. But if you make a 2-second, a split-second decision that can cause pain for you and everybody else surrounding you for the rest of y'all lives, it's not worth it. So I want to send some love and condolences and prayers to everybody involved, man. That's man. Tap in with y'all later.